Hello, this is Community Unity Now, the D Tycoon Show. This is Bill Morton, President of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce. I am Trudy Leong, Administrator of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce. And our very special guest today is Glenn Sevier of Walk and Talk Therapy. Welcome, Glenn.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Trudy. It's been a pleasure. I can't wait to get things going.
Glad to have you here.
Yes, thank you, Bill.
All right. So, go ahead, Trudy.
First of all, let our viewers understand what is Walk and Talk Therapy.
Yeah, so Walk and Talk Therapy is a different approach to therapy where you're not in the four walls of an office space. You're not in a room where there's these wooden chairs and seemingly brown walls. You're outside and you're enjoying the outdoor nature, and where we're walking either in the urban settings, also in nature, walking along the lakefront.
So no couch.
No couch for this time, Bill. No,
All right.
no. But it's been really rewarding. Something that I started back in 2003. I think it started really, when I started working in the schools as a school social worker, and always trying to find students to come down to my office. And they were like, I don't think I'm going to come down to your office because I don't really know you, nor do I trust you. So I tried to find a way of another effective approach, as I thought was, you know what, we don't have to go back to my office. We can just take the time since class are in sessions and no other students are out there. Let's walk the halls and, give me 3 tries. And if you like it, then we're good.
Usually, how many tries does it take?
Normally around 2 times. Yeah, the second time, I think they get the chance to understand that we're on equal playing fields where we're walking side by side and not in front. You haven't been told that something is wrong, but more of, let's just take a walk and chat.
Mm-hmm. That's really, is it casual?
It is casual because we don't have to be walking at a high pace, but at a pace that they feel comfortable, where sometimes when we're walking and casual looking at each other and then back and looking at the outdoors of everything going on, or either inside the school where everything was pretty peaceful. But no, it was very casual, and students always told me that they really appreciated that type of environment rather than just being in my office.
So you're not walking to anywhere, it's the act of walking and talking.
Yes, I will say the walking itself is the anchor. That's what we're doing. And while we're walking, we're also talking. Now, the other benefits is, walking allows you to raise your heart rate. It also allows you to breathe in and breathe out if a person is feeling overwhelmed or angry or anxious. Breathing in and breathing out really allows them the time and a way to be able to slow down. And in doing so, they're able to slow down their thoughts and be able to process while we're talking.
Does your pace change as you're talking about different things?
It can. Sometimes I notice that with some of my students or clients, if they're anxious about something. Normally you can kind of get a feel for how they're feeling during the first 5 minutes of us walking, because you can tell they first may just start out just quickly walking, and then as we get into the conversation, we get into what's called just a regular state of pace that they're used to, and that's when we kind of slow things down.
So when they're upset, they walk a little faster, in other words.
Yeah, you can definitely tell the difference, and you can tell when things are beginning to process. Mm-hmm.
So if just an example, a kind of story here, when Trudy and I are walking together,
Mm-hmm.
why don't you tell them about how we walk?
Oh, well, we try to always walk fast so that we get to our where we need to go on time.
And sometimes I walk a little bit faster than Trudy would like to walk.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because you're taller than me.
And I was a cross-country runner in high school.
Okay.
And I ran in track as well.
Okay.
And always had that about me, and I always have to get to where I'm going.
Gotcha.
Even when you're tired, you could walk really fast.
Really?
Yeah.
You're a fast pacer, huh?
I sure am.
Yeah.
When
So,
you talk about the breathing, do you find that your clients start breathing better as they're walking, or do you sometimes have to coach them about how to breathe, pace themselves in their breathing?
Yeah, you would think that you would have to, but I think just the walking itself, it just, again, over a short period of time, it helps them regulate how fast we're going to walk. A lot of times I know their pace too, and so we just kind of go along and go according. The great thing about it is that we don't have necessarily a place to get to, because we know that we will be together for a full hour. And oftentimes I have a path that I take. And again, now, if our pace is a little bit slower, I have more than one trail to take. And so if it's someone just a little bit more of a stroller, there's a pace for that. I have someone that's more of a speedster. We have another trail. Sometimes we may even, walk in the sand along the lakefront, which definitely slows us down if you guys have been out there on that beach out there.
But it comes to both of you.
It definitely calms down. Listen to the waves crash against the sand, whether it's in the summer or spring or winter. I think I've said before in the past, in our past conversations, is that when it gets cold out there, and it's 6 inches of snow out, what are you going to do? Well, they definitely still want to go out. I think the snow may slow us down a bit. But again, we have a pace and we have a full hour. So that's what our goal is, to get back. And if we get back a little early, sometimes we'll just either go into my office and finish our conversation. Or if it's a nice warm day, we'll just stand outside my office and have a nice conversation.
So when you walk, can you compare how walking is to like a couch experience? Did you ever use a couch for your clients?
Yes. Well, I still conduct therapy also in my office. I also conduct it via Zoom, and then I still have the walk and talk, obviously. And so it's just for me, I'm meeting my clients where they are, and sometimes I may have an individual that may want to meet with me first in my office, and I may suggest if they would like to try out walk and talk, and they may oblige me, and we may do that periodically, going back and forth.
is there anything that's similar to art therapy with what you're doing? Because you're doing something while the therapy. Are there any similarities that you can think of?
Well, like I said, the art itself, the painting, the drawing, that's the anchor, right? And so the anchor means that that's something that you can know that you're focused on as far as movement or drawing. And we're having conversations, intentional conversations that's based around things that they're experiencing. Art is a little bit different just because art therapy, they may have an exercise where they may have to draw something that's pertaining to their life experiences, where that's a little different. But it is still used as a way of an anchor of being able to use that and at the same time having conversations.
And when you're having the walk and talk, do you come full circle? Do you end up where you started on the physical walk?
Yes, we do. We'll start at my office and we'll end at my office, definitely. And I would say 95% of the time we will either get there on time, sometimes 5 minutes early, or sometimes we may just have a little bit more time where we may come 5 minutes late, but that's okay. I think also the walk and talk is anchored for walking, but it's also a sense of mindfulness as well. Have you guys heard of mindfulness and how that manifests in therapy?
Explain to our viewers here.
Well, mindfulness is where you are focusing on the present. You're not looking too far down the road. You're not looking too far back. Things that may bring on anxiety or anxiousness. We're just in the moment, and we're only focusing on things that's in their control to be able to talk about. I think that's the biggest thing that I like for my clients to be aware of. Mindfulness also, when we're walking, we get the chance to be aware of the five senses while we're walking, which is what we see, what we smell, what we hear, what we may taste, and what we feel. Feel is the wind blowing against you, and you also hear it. There's a ringing, and you're also on site sometimes during the winter months where me and my clients are out and we get the chance to go along the lakefront. And it's interesting when you're able to see how the lake begins to form icicles and you can hear the crackling, and it's freezing. And the more it freezes, the more it crackles. So I say that to say, how often do we get the chance to really observe that and use it as a way of using these senses to be able to look at that and say, what does that sound like? What does that remind you of? And that's getting into the mindfulness.
And talking about your senses, I know some people who use like white noise or pink noise or these different kinds of static-y kind of things to kind of meditate or sleep. How about like the water and the waves crashing or that crunching? I've taken a lot of videos of the big ice blocks crunching and colliding and scratching on one another. That kind of experience. What does that have to do with your experience?
Yeah, so again, you are just observing these things in real time. Like, that's interesting. And I know we're talking about the lake a lot, but seeing the icicles and seeing how they form and how they may bump up to each other and then move back. And as we're looking at these things and hearing and seeing how these things are forming, we can have a conversation as we're looking. Like I remember growing up as a kid and in Boy Scouts, and our troop leader we always went camping and we were going fishing, and while we're throwing the rod out there with the hook and we're reeling it back in, it's just a very peaceful actions. And while we're doing that, we're having very topical and sometimes very intentional conversations about what's going on in our life.
Well, you mentioned how the ice forms and collides and then kind of separates and all that. That sounds a lot to me like the progression of conflict.
See there? See, I think we're on to something. See, so that's where we would begin to have a conversation. Tell me a little bit more about when you say that brings on a little conflict. What is that? And what was your first experience with conflict? That would be the question. You don't have to answer that, but that would be the kind of question that we would lead in because it's formulated out of something that we've just experienced. That's what it's really about. And using those experiences as a way of pulling things out. Again, for me, I'm meeting my clients where they are. I'm not trying to help them create thought, but I'm allowing them to cultivate thought, something that they may have not had the chance to do. And mindfulness is an opportunity to help them cultivate that what they already can see and feel. Pretty much how you just said, seeing the icebergs, and it brings on experience of conflict.
What about persons with disabilities? They are also, you're also inclusive of them too, it sounds like.
Yeah. And it just depends on, when you say disabilities, it just depends on what it is we're talking about.
Let's say maybe a mobile disability. Maybe they can't walk as well, but you could still adapt to their whatever they're able to do.
I think so. I mean, I've had a few that may not have wanted to walk the full terrain of our trail, which is anywhere between 2.5 to 3 miles. And that's fine because we can walk as easily as 2 blocks. I've had individuals that have had injuries or they've just gone through surgery and they're going through PT, physical therapy, and the physical therapist would want them to get out a little bit more. And so they would say, Glenn, I can't do what we used to. And I would say, okay, so let's just go from here and to that area over there. That's about a block, right? And they say, yeah, let's try it. If we make it, that's fine. If we feel that there's feelings of, irritation or they're sore, then we can stop wherever we need to. The goal is not to push, but it's to be able to kind of go again. This is a joint effort, and we want to make sure that this is something that's pleasing, but also there's an opportunity in it.
And for those people with disabilities, if they were to sit outside on a park bench with you and talk, that is more conducive to therapy than sitting inside the office?
Definitely. Again, you're in outdoor nature, and if that's something that they would like to do, or I'll suggest, and they agree to it, then we can definitely sit on the outside of my office. And, you're outside, the birds are chirping, and the flies are buzzing by, and the squirrels are jumping over, and the rabbits are right there on the ground. It's very easy for us to be observant of everything that's going on around us. At the same time, as long as it's in a private area or a closed area, that it'd be great for us to have these conversations.
Well, Rogers Park is a beautiful neighborhood for you to sit outside with your clients. And I appreciate what you said about nature. When Bill and I, when I walk to work, when you walk with me to work, we see the bunnies actually sitting on the grass and observing us. They're very interested in what we're doing.
Yeah.
So you mentioned like a private area, so you're outside. It's a public area, but you're off in your own space where people aren't eavesdropping. I've seen over at the Starbucks at the Target, right over on Sheridan near Loyola Lakeshore campus. In the Starbucks, in the Target, with all these seats closed, they're having a session, and you can hear every single thing. I don't want to, but you hear it. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's the interest. I mean, you want to make sure that your clients are fully aware of where you will be sitting and in close proximity to other people. For me, I like to keep a distance from us and others. Being in an open environment like at a Starbucks or where you're sitting, people around, that's something that I don't abide by. I've seen that happen, but for me, I sometimes people like to be in crowds and having conversations, and they don't think anyone's listening. But I think to be able to give my clients enough space where we're able to have conversations and they're not thinking, well, did they hear me or what did they say? For us, it's enough distance is great. So for us, it's movement. Again, if there's an area for a bench or a place for us to sit and no one's around, or we're very aware of it, and I may say, okay, we have someone coming up. We may want to kind of wait for them to pass by. Again, this has been my 22nd year, and I haven't had any clients where they've had that as an issue. So it's been weekly and throughout the week, anywhere from 5 to 7 clients for 22 years. It's a long time, but it's been very conducive for them.
They say that there's a list of things that you do for longevity, for health and longevity. One of them is walking. Another one is sleep. Another one is minding your habits. There's being with good people that don't stress you out, and all of these different things. So this must have extended your lifespan, maybe.
Well, we'll see. I think I feel good. I get the chance to, obviously exercising has been something that's really huge in my life, and I've always done things outdoors. Parents, growing up. In Cub Scouts, the Boy Scouts, to then being an Eagle Scout, and then playing sports. And here I am now, as our children got a little older, we started taking them on camping trips. And we started taking these long walks. And just this summer, one of my daughters, we went to Colorado Springs, and last year we hiked down Pikes Peak, which is 14,000 feet elevated, and a 14-mile hike up. And this May we went back to Colorado Springs and climbed what's called the Manitou Incline, which is a very interesting 2,700 stairs that you climb. And then here in the state of Illinois, my wife and I went to Starved Rock just this spring. So again, we are out. If there's a good day, or even if there's not a good day, there's always an opportunity to see how we could move forward. It's always action forward, action forward.
What was your epiphany when you were in high school as a counselor that walking or being outdoors might help your students?
You know, again, sometimes students need to have that opportunity to pull themselves away from a situation where conflict is happening. And for me, you know, I wanted to be able to create an atmosphere for my students to know that if they needed to speak with someone and maybe they didn't necessarily want to be face to face, but out and about, that was an avenue for them. A lot of times if I'm, I was just walking with the student and taking them back to class, we're still walking side by side. So I just felt like, and again, positive feedback from them really let me know that was something that they were out to do. Yeah.
Oh, in other words, you weren't counseling when you were sometimes walking with a student, but you realize that when you're walking with the student is more comfortable than like sitting in the office or something like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think they inquisitively also want to know just what's going on with Mr. Sevier. You know, what is he like? You know, it's more than just me talking with them, or sometimes what they feel at them. It's more of them also having we're on an equal playing field where we can have real conversations. We may talk about, and I know you all won't believe this, but we may talk about where's the nearest barbershop and how long they've been going to the barbershop. I mean, I know you can't see that for me, but it's just basic conversation about fun things and even joking and being silly. And Mr. Sevier can be a really funny individual. But allow them to feel comfortable walking with someone that they're getting to know.
But those conversations do get serious.
They can get serious when it needs to. And I think that's the thing, is planting the seed when things are okay or when things aren't really at a hilt, being able to have those fun conversations so that when the tough ones come, they know who to come to.
What about eye contact? How important is eye contact? Because if you're walking, it's just an occasional eye contact.
I think it works for those who it needs to work for. I think sometimes when difficult situations come about and they may feel a sense of embarrassment, a sense of shame, maybe they feel better or feel that it's more suitable, doable talking when we're walking side by side. And once in a while it's the casual look side, eye contact, and then we're back having our conversation. And at some point, who knows, it may, gradually move to face-to-face. But I think that's a place for them to decide how they want to have these conversations.
When in, let's say, therapy school, how important is eye contact? Do they mention that?
Well, I mean, it's always something that we talk about as the trainings that we would have, and I think you get the chance to get an idea of just where your client is coming from, because you can see how they are looking or how what their posture is. You can even see how they're breathing. You can see if they're crouched over. So body language is definitely important. But I think it's something for us to look at outside of the general way that we provide counseling. I think, sometimes people may see that as or deem it as the Western cultural way of providing counseling. And I think there's also other cultures that work better with not having that face-to-face, eye to eye. And who knows, over a period of time, which I've seen, that comes about. But sometimes we have to meet our clients where they are, whatever makes them feel comfortable, so that we can, over a period of time, we can have this relationships where the main thing is for them to feel supported. It's not like, well, if we can't see eye to eye, then we're not going to be able to have counseling. It's not going to happen. No, I want to meet you where you are. Sometimes I think which was really helpful that I do in the schools too is sometimes students that they enjoy playing basketball, so we call it shoot and chat. Where we're just shooting free throws and we're having a focus on the rim, but then we're having our conversations. Or Sometimes I've seen where coaches will have their players out there throwing the baseball back and forth. And again, they're having conversations. It may not be therapy, but they're relating in ways that I think is conducive for both to feel very comfortable.
Well, Glenn Sevier, we are out of time. If
Wow.
our viewers want to learn more about
Whoa.
Glenn Sevier and walk and talk therapy, where should they go?
You can log on to my website, which is www.advance, that's ADV as in Victor, ANCE, potential.com.
Thank you so much, Glenn Sevier of Walk and Talk Therapy. This is Bill Morton, President of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce. I am Trudy Leong, Administrator of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so much for watching Community Unity Now, the D Tycoon Show, and we will see you again next week.